flat tire. And the driver, Nalanie, is young. You know, the tire just goes like this in one Land Cruiser. And she just so calmly goes to the side. So we get out of the car. Now we've got 2 hours to make it to the airport, right?
Right.
So she calls, she said, Nalanie, very important that you go. So she calls Maxine on the first car, who's already near Malaga, to come back and pick us up from Fuengirola. We're midway, Fuengirola and Malaga. And she calls the grúa tow truck, Rase, and we're all sitting there calmly. Nobody is upset. And I said, what a nice group of people to travel with. I love this, you know. And nobody nervous, stressed, upset. So we just sat there and she goes, Nalanie, I think it's really important you go to the airport first. So you go with Maxine and I'll go with Ileana to the garage, and we have to go to the garage because we're right in the middle of the motorway. I said, no, we'll go together. We have to travel together anyway. And then we both look at it. The three of us look at each other and say, I think we'll make the flight. Pretty impossible, but we really believed it. So anyway, soon a police patrol car came, and he was so nice to us. He helped us call the grúa to rush them, because we told them we had to go to the airport. So anyway, the tow truck came, we called Maxine. They had to come all the way back. They took the wrong turning, went all the way to Malaga, to Marbella, the other way, and had to turn back. We were past Calahonda in Fuengirola. So this was taking another half an hour. Very little time left to get to the airport. So tow truck comes, we tell them to go, we take all the luggage, we take all the passport, me, Shanti, Maxine, run, we go to the first parking, everything is clockwork, the courtesy bus is there, I know the lady in that parking, just give the keys, we go, everything clockwork, the parking people drop us we look at the boarding, you know, which gate you have to check in, right across us, we don't even have to walk to it, nobody at check-in, just us, so we check in right away, it's 20 past 1. Our flight is 2:45 and boarding is 2:15. Okay.
Wonderful.
So we say, okay, can you check the other two in? No, they have to be here. So meanwhile, they had to go into garage in Fuengirola, sort out the tire, and go to the parking and come to us. So we said, what time do you close the check-in counter? 2 o'clock. They'll be here for 2. So we said, okay, we'll go, all of us. We took their luggage. We went and had a nice coffee. 10 to 2, nobody there. So I said, we better take the luggage to the counter so that they know they're coming. I called them. We're nearly at the parking. We've got our tire done. That was a miracle in itself. Go into garage, into Fuengirola, and get to Malaga. I don't know how that happened. We'll be there. Where are you? We're by the parking. Get into the courtesy bus and come right away. 2 minutes to 2. Her and Maxine are begging to check them in. Please. I said, we never do this, we never do this, we are going now, we have to go. Still 2 minutes to go. 1 minute to 2. I'm calling them, where are you? Just outside. I said, run in. The same time I was calling them and they said they were running in, the lady at the counter said, okay, I'll check in for you. I've never ever done this before. And then they checked their luggage in. And as soon as they walk in the glass doors to the terminal, we say, run! And it was really like the movies, you know, 10, 9, 8. It was really, I was like looking at my watch, 7, 6, and they made it! 2 minutes past 2 they got there.
Only €8 to fix a tire.
And then on top of it, it was only €8 it cost her to fix the tire. Everything worked for us. We got on that flight. We had to laugh. But what I loved, nobody complained. Stop complaining. Be content. That magic, we really felt the time stopped for us. I mean, that is really, if you think of it logically, at 20 past 1, you know that they just went to the garage. I don't know how it worked. Yeah, it's mind-boggling, and we all felt a miracle had happened, you know, and we made our flight. And I said, that's what, when you stop complaining, and nobody was worried. I said, you just have to get there because you're leading the retreat. They weren't worried about taking next day's flight or if anything went wrong. There was no fear. There was no anger, you know. It just happened, a flat tire. We thought, oh, we have a story to tell when we get there. Because we were all non-stop laughing at the wonderful joy that the Creator had given us as a gift for not complaining. So all weekend we use that line from Sri Patanjali, which is, by the practice of contentment, supreme joy is gained. Will you all do it with me? Be a little enthusiastic. Supreme joy is gained. Oh my goodness. You're not going to have any joy doing it like this. You have to feel it. That's why we have passion. When you have passion in your life, you achieve things. So will you do it with me? Okay, it's by the practice of contentment, supreme joy is gained. Not only a little joy, supreme joy is gained. By the practice of contentment, supreme joy is gained. Yes, you got it. Be content, and life works for you. And I was so grateful to travel. Maxine, I'm telling them about our lovely adventure. And I kept on saying, you know, I'm really traveling with a group of yogis. No fear, no worry, joy, you know, throughout. And really, that is God's power, the power of the universe. It works for us. And many yogis, my master used to say, when you work in this energy field, and happens to me many, many times, time almost stops for you. And some of the yogis have felt it, because many of them have practiced for a long time. And when you really feel you're never going to make it, we always make it. Now, I've noticed in times when I've had people traveling with me, and this is just to show you, because I see it so clearly. I love my students. They teach me constantly, many lessons. When we have people complaining, like one of our trips, instead of taking 5 hours to come home, we take 10 hours to get home, you know, from driving. Why? There's somebody in the car that's complaining, somebody will miss a turning, miss another turning, and then there'll be agitation. So when you stop, the energy of agitation takes a lot of time. You know, there'll be arguments, I'm not happy with this. It happened in one of my travels just last year, and I go, I'm not traveling again with these people. Because if they don't trust, everything works. Good lesson. I learned I'll make a decision next time not to travel with grumpy people. You know, whereas we just accept everything and they delay the process. Well, anyway, it was a good lesson for the person who caused all the trouble, because it made that person see themselves very clearly that with that kind of energy, everything goes wrong. And every time something went wrong, this person started complaining, oh, it's Shanti's fault. And then it's this one's fault, and it's that one's fault. And I couldn't stop laughing, because the more she was complaining, and then finally I told her after the restaurant, I said, you say one more word about Shanti. You dare say one more word about Shanti, please, we will never travel with you again. I said, apologize to her. And she's not your keeper. So, but you can see that this energy goes when people complain. Haven't you noticed? You're traveling, you're taking a bus with people. When they complain, in a restaurant, why don't they have this? Food tastes terrible. The waiters treat you badly. You know, I'm a vegetarian. Cook me this. Fuss off. They don't bother to look after you. When I go into a Spanish restaurant, I say, I really don't want to give you trouble. I am a vegetarian. Whatever you can give me, I'll be happy. I say, oh, you're a rabbit, are you? And I go, yeah, I guess you could call me that. I'm very happy to be that. Yeah, he said, you only like green. I said, I love green. And how many times does it happen? And they start laughing. Next thing I know, they'll make me a little stew of vegetables. And how many times does it happen to us? And they'll be out of the way nice to us. You don't complain, you know. But most vegetarians, I'm a vegetarian, you should be making this. Why should anybody be making anything for us at any time? Isn't everything a gift, you know? And it just shows when you stop complaining, things work. The moment you start complaining, things disintegrate. Look at your life, look at your relationship, look at your children. The moment you tell them, you don't fix a bed, you don't fix a bed, you don't fix a bed, cry, tears, they won't fix the bed anyway. And 2 hours later, everybody's screaming in the house and the bed will get fixed, but the child will have it in their head that they hate fixing beds. And it will be a chore always. And the war will go on for years and years and years. All because the person, fix your bed, fix your bed, fix your bed, fix your bed. You don't fix your bed? Your choice. I won't fix it for you. But the mother, if you don't fix it, I have to fix it. And if I have to fix it, then this will go away. Do you see? It becomes too personalized and the child hears it. Oh, mom only cares about it because, or dad, because they don't want to do it for me. What I learned with children is really fun. If you teach them, I used to, come on, let's all fix your bed. I'm so happy. Should we make it pretty and put a cushion and put the teddy here, And then, especially do it more now with my grandchildren when they stay overnight. And they always fix my bed for me because I get up so early, so I'm out in the sitting room when they stay with me. And when I go to the room, they're all smiling. In the bathroom, they're brushing their teeth. I go in the room, I know what they've done. Always they do it for me. Always, without asking. See, it's not complaining. And they're such simple things, so simple. They can be, and you teach them also, I'd love to help you do it. Let's do it together. It's that feeling of sacrifice, of, I want your bed to be as pretty as my bed. So let's do it together. Let us make breakfast together. I have to make mine. Eat your food. Let us eat together. Don't rush. If you don't finish, leave it. Don't worry about rushing and spoiling, because then you get sick. You're telling them you care about them. Take it easy. The next day you can be sure they will get up earlier to finish their breakfast. Don't worry, if they don't eat, they'll stop. They'll learn. What's the big deal, right? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, if they stop, no big deal. They'll learn. We do it for them, and then we complain at them. Relationships the same. I make all this money and bring it home, and all you do is spend it. And don't bring it home, and don't give it, and don't allow her to spend it. If you feel that way, right? And all day long I'm in the kitchen, blah, 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 blah. Then ask your partner to help you that all day long you're in the kitchen. Don't complain and scream at each other. Ask. You're human beings. Please, can you help me today? I'm really tired. And if they say no, you just don't do it. Finish. No big deal. Let them do it. But we want to control. We want to control everything. And that control, every time we want to control, look what follows after controlling. If it doesn't happen, you complain. Have you noticed? You want to control. Doesn't work your way, so you complain. So it's a control issue. We want everything to be the way we want it to be. Sometimes in life, it can't be the way we want to be. So on that piece of paper, I really like you to look at your life. And this is for you to take home. Nobody has to read it or look at it. What are you constantly complaining about? To anyone. Your family, your children, your work, your house, and yourself. Because some people tell me, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. Stop complaining. You're good enough. And for those who don't want to write it down, close your eyes and look at yourself whenever you're upset and angry. Just close your eyes and see the vision of yourself, not anybody else. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. See the vision of yourself, how you look when you're angry and upset. And ask yourself, do you like the way you look? What irritates you about people or things? What irritates you and gets to you? What pushes your buttons? certain words, certain actions, what pushes your button? And if it pushes your buttons, are you more concerned about what people think or what you feel? Are you more concerned about what people think of the situation or how you feel about the situation? Many times we sacrifice the truth because we want to please everybody. Be very clear about that. Next question. Do you practice contentment every day? Because in order to build a habit, you have to practice it for 21 days. Do you know that? I think you have to practice it for the rest of your life. I wouldn't even limit it to 21 days. Do you practice contentment when you get up in the morning? Do you practice contentment at work? I'm content. Let's take you to work now.
I don't have to write.
You're retired. She's retired.
She still has to cook and clean and
That's
wash.
That's
She has
happy.
the attitude.
She has the right attitude. She's content with cooking and cleaning, so she's fine. Supreme joy is gain. Did you hear that giggle?
Yes, for some people that is a chore, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, so let's take it to work.
Do you know, Nalanie? If I
Yes.
can just butt in. This lady who's been
Can you all hear her from the back?
to hospital like maybe 2 months ago had a problem with her nervous system. Remember I was telling you about? And she came back.
Yes.
They've given her a lot of cortisone. They still don't know what's wrong with her.
Mm-hmm.
But this lady loves cooking and sewing and cleaning. And the problem that she's encountered with the nervous system is that she cannot use her hands to do this. Right? So when you were joking about the cooking and the cleaning, you know, I thought of her. Because there are some people who are very happy just cooking and cleaning and doing things like that. I mean, I didn't enjoy cooking a lot or cleaning.
I know.
I know, yeah, because when I first came to yoga, remember? You said, take a break, 2 weeks without cooking, see if that's going to make you happier.
Did it make you happier?
I can't remember that, what far back. No, yoga definitely helped me tremendously, you know. But, I don't know, this story came into my mind. So, I mean, what is the lesson for her, I wonder?
How old is she?
She's 64, 65.
You know, all of us have to face some kind of ailment. Not all of us, some of us have to face some kind of ailment in our lives. We don't know the reason, we don't know the causes, and you know, you don't really know what's going on in our life. So without knowing the facts of our internal life, we don't really know the lesson. So on a very, you know, superficial basis, because obviously all of us have our lessons to learn. On a very superficial basis, maybe it's her time to turn internally and not externally. But I'm just saying it off the cuff. So many people are external, in their homes, in what they build, in their jobs. Everything is external in their lives. And because they enjoy all these external things, when they come to the end of their life, sometimes those external things are being withdrawn for them. And the withdrawal of these external things, you have to look inwards. Otherwise you'll be miserable. Otherwise you will be miserable. Because if you lose your hands that love to cook and clean, and there's nothing to hang on to, all that's ahead for you is complaining, misery, and sadness. But if internally you develop your spirit, then even if your hands can't move, your mind can grow, your spirit can grow. You can spend your time reading, learning, studying, growing spiritually, finding the peace within to cope with the sadness without. So maybe that is the reason, but I really can't tell you in this case because I don't know. And I've seen in my life, everybody is different. There are no two identical cases. This is what I find so incredible. You can't just write a textbook and say, for this case you apply this method, because each person has a reason for the way they are, and each one is so different. And what you would use, one medicine for one person, for one person I would be very, very gentle and give them all the time in the world that they need. For another person, I would tell them, stop the nonsense, stop, fix yourself, get out. But I don't know till I hear the case and I see the person. Some people need very gentle, loving care, and other people just need very strong words, and they get up and go. And it's the only way to shake them, to make them move. Because sometimes if you give some people compassion, too much of it, they just stay in their misery. But you have to know when to do what. And the only way you learn that is by learning about yourself. What makes you take? What doesn't make you take? All the yogic science teaches us. When you learn about the microcosm, you know about the macrocosm. What does that mean? Everything we need to know about ourselves is within us. When you understand the way your mind works, the way your emotions work, the way your spirit is, then you learn about everybody else. When you really feel sorrow, you can understand somebody else's sorrow. When you feel pain of loss, you can understand somebody's pain of loss. So all these things come to us to teach us to grow as human beings and to be more and more loving towards each other and to be more caring towards each other. But we're not taught this in schools. So what happens? We start falling apart. We start blaming each other. We start tearing each other apart. But every time we hurt someone and every time we tear somebody else apart, we're really tearing ourselves up. Because our nature is to love. Our nature is to give. Our nature is joy. Our nature is peace. And every time we do something harmful to somebody else, we actually do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. When somebody causes you pain and you argue back and you scream and you shout, it never leaves you feeling good. I don't know one person that feels good doing that. There is so much pain in it. So the solution is what? How do you get through these difficult phases? How do you get through these difficult times? Really simply, in one prayer of St. Francis, you get all the solution to every problem that you face. And you know what the solution is? By putting yourself into somebody else's shoe. By putting yourself in their life and their shoe and looking at it from their perspective. And if you look at it from their perspective, there is a harmony that comes in because there is a compassion in it and they feel it. And when they feel your compassion and they feel your love, they give it back to you. I often used in the old days my example of my husband and myself, and some of you have heard this many times. Before I started yoga, we work together in a business, and you know what business is, retail business, one day good, one day bad, one day good, one day bad, normal, right? Any kind of business is like that when you own your own business. So my husband used to we'd come home together, and then he'd be in a bad mood. Today everything was so bad, we had a bad day, we got to pay this bill and that bill, and instead of saying, darling, don't worry, which is before yoga, I would go, you're always complaining, you should be more positive, why don't you meditate? This is the early days of my meditation, for 6 months, I already thought I knew everything at that point. You should meditate, you should calm yourself down, instead of, always complaining. Can't you be positive? Can't you say, didn't you take a positive thinking course before you met me? Why can't you be like that? I fell in love with you because you were dynamic. Oh my God. You do that too. And then, after yoga, after a few, 3-4 years of watching myself come home, oh, it's really been a bad day. I know. Yes, it's been a bad day. So let's relax. Can I get you a drink? Why don't you sit down, darling? Turn on the TV, watch the news, I'll make dinner. No. I help you. You also had a bad day. You were all day with me. Yeah, but it's okay. It's really upset you. And I don't want you to be upset. I love you so much. I'll go into the kitchen. I really don't mind. 1 minute later, he's in the kitchen with me. Anger got out. Frustration got out. At least for that 1 hour. Obviously, when people are worriers, they'll go to bed and they'll worry. That's why you need the practices so that you become good at it. You can help people for a short time. You can make them forget for a short period, but you can't do it for them. You can only do it for yourself. But what you can do is give them permission to be themselves. When you give them permission to be themselves without complaining about who they are, they always will reflect. They can see, all they have to look at is their own voice, their own mind, and their own picture, because you're standing back and you're giving them permission. It is very important, good or bad, to give people permission for feeling the way they do. Wouldn't you want people to give you permission for feeling the way you do? And when I started to give him permission, he started to give me permission. Because when I got married, I was a little crybaby. I was brought up in a very protected family, a lot of love. So anybody shouts or screams, boo hoo hoo hoo, cry, tears, why don't you hug me? I am sorry, all this nonsense, cry. So whenever I used to start crying like that, see, it was a sense of kind of complaining, right? Women, we use tears a lot. You just walk away. How can you be so uncompassionate? But when I gave him permission, when I cried, he'd come right back and give me the hug. Do you see? But I had to learn. One of us had to learn. Doesn't matter who learns. Many people come, but why should I be the one? I said, because you're the one who wants the peace. Yeah, exactly. That is the key. Why? That's ego. We say clean up your ego. That is ego. Why should I do it? Why can't he or she do it first? And my master taught me that the very first lesson, very first retreat I had. I said, why should I be the one? To make up for this friendship, when that person has caused the pain. And he asked me, do you want peace? Yes, but I don't want to say sorry when I'm not. I'm not asking you to say sorry. Do you want peace? Yes, good at that, but do you want peace? Yes. Then you have to forgive and let it go. You're the yogi. You're the one searching for the peace. And that is was a great lesson to me. It showed me what a big ego I had, that for such a small issue, with such a great friend, I couldn't let it go. I wanted her to let it go. She wasn't searching for peace. I was. And it was a great privilege to let it go. It's a great privilege because, you know, so many years later she died of colon cancer. And I'm so happy I made my peace. I'm so happy I made my peace. There's no karma. Do you know? Whether she could or she couldn't didn't matter anymore. I made my peace. When you make your peace, you send out love. And this is what you have to look at. If you say, why? Why should it be me? You can say it for the rest of your life. I just say, has to be one person. It's pride that causes, you got it? It's pride that causes all the damage. And at the end of the day, where does it get you? An unhappy home, an unhappy friendship, unhappy work. If keeping your pride gave you peace, gave you joy, made you happy at work, carry on. Carry on. But like I said, I don't know one person that it has given that peace. It's not an easy thing to do. That's why we spend so many years practicing on ourselves, sitting down, meditating, looking at our minds. You know, in the 8 limbs of yoga, it doesn't go straight into meditation. It goes into dharana, which means contemplation. Many people think, oh, if I have to go into meditation, I have to blank my mind. No, it's impossible. So you start with contemplation. You know, it's just what I was telling Alison today. You start with contemplation. Don't pressure yourself. And what is that contemplation? To understand the way your mind works. What's going on inside that mind? Because you know, many times we're so busy speaking, we don't hear ourselves think. We just act. There's a thought and we act on it without even thinking. And that's when we cause a lot of damage to others and ourselves. Because as my master says, you point one finger that way, look at the rest of the fingers, all pointing back towards you. That's the trigger, and it's facing you, and the 3 fingers facing you. Be careful when you point that way. Always look at yourself. It's not a matter of being right or wrong. There's nobody that punishes you for that. It's really a matter of finding peace within yourself. When you have found peace within yourself, your decisions will be correct. Because anything that takes you away from that peace will make you think. Think till you wait and find the perfect solution. The method of contemplation helps you to be the studier of who you are. You study what makes your mind think. What's going on in there? What are you spending your time on contemplating all day long? All you need to do is 5 minutes in the morning. First of all, really, this is the way to start. First and foremost, you make a little corner for yourself in your home. That is yours. That is your space to get to know you. That is your best friend, your God, your temple, whatever you want to call it, your space on this earth that is so privately yours, where you can meet with yourself. You know, as the Bhagavad Gita says, you are your best friend or you are your worst enemy. Nobody else is. So start to know the best friend in you, the good wolf, and the worst enemy in you, the bad wolf. And start to see which one occupies more space in your mind. Honestly, I tell you truthfully, when I started meditation or contemplation, I thought I was a good person. I was very shocked at the thoughts that came up in my brain. And I had enough humility to admit it and accept it. I think that's part of the journey. This is why all the saints and sages say, you have to have the humility to say, I'm sorry when you are wrong. I don't believe in this thing, don't say sorry when you're wrong. I think that's rude and cheeky and wrong. For me, please, thank you, sorry are important words. Now why should we say sorry? Why not? You've done something wrong. It's important to apologize for it. That's how you make peace, to ask for forgiveness. So anyway, I realized that a lot of my thoughts were judgment. That person was wrong, that person was wrong. It was everybody else was wrong except me. That shocked me. So I started to see that I was coming from a very selfish place, which I thought I wasn't selfish as a person. I was generous. I was good with my kids. They always came first. My husband always came first. But what was the imbalance in my life? The imbalance was on the outside, everything came first. I looked like I was doing the right actions. Looking after my husband, looking after my children, looking after my work. What was on the inside? Deep unhappiness. Why? Because I was doing those things, but I didn't want to.
Resentment.
So resentment, yes. But not because I didn't want to look after my husband. I adored my children. But I didn't like the way it was balancing in my life. Too many hours at work, too little hours with the kids, And when I was with the kids, it was total quality. And then having so much work after that, and I didn't know how to say. So instead of saying, I can't do all this, I tried to be a martyr. Do it all, and then tell them, you can't do half as much as I do. Do you see? And then get angry about it. What is the point of doing all the stuff, and then on top being angry? And being unhappy. What's the point? You cross it out. It's better not to do anything. At least one person is happy, right? So this was the thing that I discovered, which was a bit frightening. So how do you change it? How do you tip the balance? And the next thing I learned was truthfulness and communication. And I learned that most people's problems come from the ability, not having the ability to communicate what they want to say without fear. I realized I was fearful of admitting my weaknesses. So I blamed, in my brain, I was fearful of my husband. Why? Because when I faced that mirror, I didn't like to see my weaknesses. So I didn't want to blame myself. I blamed him for my weaknesses. So you think, oh my God, I have a lot of work here. In here, on my own. Forget about being angry with the world. So what I started to do initially, every morning was, first of all, clean out all the people I was angry with in my life and all the people I blamed by blessing them and wishing them well. Constantly, St. Francis's prayer, which we'll finish up with. Constantly, and you do the same. It really works. I'm trying to give you a shortcut. Forgive them. Get all the external stuff out. And I did that. And then I started to decide to stop complaining about my work and start loving everything I was doing consciously. So I used to complain about washing dishes, and at that time I had eczema, both hands, full, bleeding all the time. So what did I apply? I read in the Bhagavad Gita that a monk, when he was washing dishes, he would say he could hear God sing with the clings and the clangs. So I moved it to a higher purpose. Took out the dishes and I looked, I don't want to wash dishes. Changed it. I'm doing it for God. I'm going to hear heavenly music. I'm doing it for my children, they're God. I'm doing it for my husband, he's God, although I don't feel it at the moment. I'm doing it anyway. Changing the chin. So I go in the kitchen, conscious awareness. This is why they say you have to be, in Buddhism they say mindfulness. You have to be very conscious of every single action, every single thought that's coming into your head, and every downfall, every negativity. So I go in the kitchen and start singing, because singing makes everybody happy. So, God is singing through me. And then my husband would walk in and say, what are you singing about? Immediately. Of course, when you're singing, everybody likes to help you, don't they? You don't even have to ask for help. Tea towel comes out. Drying happens on its own. 6 months later, no eczema. No eczema. When I went to Hong Kong 6 months later to visit my mom, she goes, Nalanie, your hands, they're not bleeding. I followed my truth in the only way I knew how, which was to adjust me. Do you see? I couldn't adjust anybody else. I adjusted me to make me happy. So if you look at it from from a higher point of view, I just wanted to make myself happy. My life on earth was very important to be happy. And the only way I could be happy is to see everyone as God, everything as God. So I had to love everything. So this was the practice I used. I have to love everything. Another practice that I would do is walk down Main Street, right? And start blessing everyone. You know how gossip goes? I didn't realize I gossiped a lot in my head. Negatively. Oh, this one ran off with that one and that one ran off. So much gossip. I didn't know I did that. I thought just because I didn't gossip externally too much, that I didn't know this was going on in my head. So it was, I didn't know the differentiation of looking at a deed and not judging it. Right? You know what Lord Jesus said? Judge the sin, not the sinner. I couldn't know the difference. So I realized I really wasn't there at the moment. I didn't understand that judge the sin and not the sinner at all at that point. I was judging everything. Everything and everyone. I couldn't stop that nonsense, so I used the opposite action. Bless everyone. Bless them. What a nice practice. Walk down Main Street on my way to work every morning. In my head, God bless you. And I heard the negative thought, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. And by the time I got to the shop, I was in such a good mood. Because you laugh at yourself. You hear the negative thought coming, God bless you. I mean, it's a game. I used to play a game. And I used to play it with the kids as well, you know. It's to train your mind when you're crossing streets. Don't worry about traffic. I mean, look left, look right. You do Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Don't rush, go good speed, and walk with the beat. Om Namah Shivaya. And we used to walk into town, and everybody got to where they had to on time. You know, little practices like that. And then after a while, when you understand your mind, you start to understand how most people think. And then you realize how important balance is. And balance can only occur in you. So this is the practice we all need to use to help ourselves stop complaining. Because if you say, I'm not going to complain tomorrow, I promise you, you will. You can't just do it like this. I'm going to stop complaining. You know, I'm tired of complaining. You won't. You get worse and worse and worse and worse. You complain more than you've ever complained. If you say, I'm going to stop nagging, you'll nag more than you've ever nagged. So don't go that route. Just say, I'm going to do these practices, watch my mind, change it so that I can be peaceful. So I can be peaceful. So what thoughts make me peaceful? And when you're peaceful, you emit a lovely energy. And the more lovely energy you emit, the better you feel. And the more people want to be near you. Isn't it true? When you're joyful, people want to be near you. They just want to love you. Isn't it true? And then you realize, wow, I sacrificed my ego and I got so much more in return. So why do people find it so difficult to sacrifice their ego? Why did I take so long to learn that lesson? It takes time because of all the conditioning. And that's why I always say one of the most important things on this spiritual path is patience. But in order to fix yourself, you have to spend some time knowing yourself. Are you clear? Will you all start a daily practice? How many hands up for starting a daily practice? Because if you do it every day by itself, 3 months, 6 months, no antidepressants, half your medications will come down. I won't say no because I still take one serotype sometimes, and after the liver off, my body's got a little imbalanced. So now it's time to balance it again. Life happens. No big deal, right? No big deal. You get imbalanced, you just work again to balance. But thank God I got a peaceful mind. I'm so grateful. I won't say who cares about the body, because we need to look after the body. Wrong statement. But we need to look after the body. But when the mind takes over, it really gets so happy in itself that the body almost seems like, sometimes in its way, the spirit's way. Funny for me to say that, but that's how I feel. It's really just an instrument. It's just an instrument. It's just an instrument. The mind is happy. Everything else is just an instrument. What is important to be living in the spirit. You don't think about many things that are physical. It doesn't seem to matter too much anymore because you feel in an elated, happy place. But then God sends people around who scolds me when I overdo. I'm so blessed and tell me off. Have to rest. Okay. So when I don't listen, it works. Everything balances out. I don't even have to think about that. So I was really, really busy in Cornwall, and suddenly I know in the morning, every morning, somebody comes and brings at 6 o'clock in my room. They know I meditate and love hot water and lemon. Now don't you think that's sweet? They just bring the cup in and they go out. One morning Shanti, one morning Mark, one morning Janaki, one morning Lucy, next morning Shanti. Some days I got 2 cups of hot water. I didn't even ask for it. And it just came. And that's what I can tell you. What I know is when you do things with love, you really don't worry about it. Suddenly it seems like the gods look after you. I really didn't worry about having hot water in the morning or not, although that's my daily practice here with lemon. No big deal, My room was upstairs, don't want to trouble anyone, no problem. You get what you want. I was just very interested in seeing all those lovely souls in Cornwall, and it was lovely. Any of you know Charlotte? Dick and Nina?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they were there. Charlotte was there. Dick and Nina, yes. Charlotte. Flo was there. Flo is much more, she doesn't scream so much anymore. Flo is a dog that belonged to Dick and Nina, who used to be in the center for many, many years. They used to live on the marina. And they're doing wonderful things. Dick has become a counselor now, working with kids and juveniles. And look how they've changed their lives. And boat people, and they're doing so much. And Nina, she's working at the moment. She's teaching Hatha to many, many people, but she does some private lessons with a man who had his arm amputated because of a car crash. And his one arm amputated and the other arm is 3/4. And because of what she's doing with him with Hatha Yoga and with Raj Yoga, the philosophy, the doctors now say that they can put a prosthetic arm because they found that when he was doing the yoga in his mind, as if he was doing it with his body, what happens is that brain spot that's connected to the arm, all the nerves are still alive. And now they can give him a prosthetic arm. Don't you think that's wonderful news? The research they are doing themselves with what they've learned. And now they've seen a little monastery in London. So we invested in some money in buying a lottery in case they win it. They would love to run it. Why not? Let's try, I said. You get it, you run it. And the joy is to serve people. And they also worked in London. They went to the home for the homeless and talked to people there and laughed with them. Such nice things to hear. And Charlotte, she's working in a school. She left here, a few months ago. She's got a very nice new boyfriend. We're very happy. And she's working in a school, and she's introduced yoga classes to the school, and now she's trying to get it on the curriculum. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
When you hear all these nice stories, and it shows when you work for the highest good, things just work for you. And I'm sure she wouldn't mind me telling the story, because she told this to quite a few people in the room with me. She said she had a struggle whether to leave Gibraltar or not. Yeah, she did. She and everybody said, don't leave, you have such a good social life. But her inner voice was telling her, you need to go back to England. She had just split up with her boyfriend. It was a painful split. And she came to the office to see me, and so said, I don't know what to do, I said, you're in a dilemma. She's in a dilemma. So, what is your heart telling you? That I should go back to England. What is everybody telling you? That I should stay here? But I do love Gibraltar, and I love the people here. I'm not asking you whether you love it or you don't love it, I told her. I'm asking you what your heart is pushing you to do. Otherwise you wouldn't be in a dilemma. If your heart was telling you should stay in Gibraltar, you would stay. But obviously there's a dilemma. What is your heart telling you to do? Go back to England. But what if this... Charlotte, what is your heart telling you to do? Go back to England. There, you made your decision. If it doesn't work out, come back. We love you. Everything will be fine. And she made the decision. And look, her life. It just worked.